Well, guys, we are on the air finally and live, coming at you from AJ's Bar, located at 651 South Main Street in historic downtown Grapevine, Texas. Hey, AJ, look, they brought some friends with them today. Hey. I'm surprised they're still with us after all this time. I mean, hell, it's been nearly 30 minutes.
We're using glasses, man.
These glasses?
These are fucking from the theater, aren't they?
Yeah, they're 3D glasses from the movie. Dude, they were free. You like them? No, they're pretty cool looking.
Where are yours at?
Dude, I don't know. I lost them. I'll find them, but I couldn't find them. So I just put these on. But 3D glasses are pretty cool.
Is everything coming at you?
It is. It's like scaring me. Share us with your friends. That's very important to us. While you're at your lunch table eating your little lunch, drag someone over to watch us with you. My featured guest today is Tommy James. Tommy James and the Shondells, guys. They're an American pop rock, psychedelic rock band formed in Niles, Michigan back in '64. They had 2 #1 singles in the U.S., Hanky Panky, July of '66, and Crimson and Clover, February 1969. Bust a move. And also charted 12 other top 40 hits, including 5, could be 5 guys, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, in the Hot 100's top 10. I Think We're Alone Now, Mirage, Moni Moni, Sweet Cherry Wine, and Crystal Blue Persuasion. You want to join in? Tommy James' autobiography, Me, the Mob, and the Music, is a rare music biography that's truly a stellar read. I know because I read it. It is really a lot of fun to read. You don't even have to be a fan to enjoy the book. If you enjoy rock and roll, it's a great book. It's available wherever books are sold, and it's worth, I'm telling you, every freaking penny.
Where'd you get it from?
I got it from Tommy's manager. And
is it signed?
It is. And I can't find it. I misplaced it somewhere. Did I leave it up here? And here he is now, Tommy James.
Hey everybody, this is Tommy James from Tommy James and the Shondells, and you are watching Barside Jive.
I had a great time talking to Tommy James last week, guys, and today should be no different. It'll be a blast. So I hope you'll stay tuned. And speaking of great times, AJ, the 43rd Dallas International Guitar Fest was this past weekend. Had a great time. Got to see, saw Buddy Whittington walk across the parking lot. I actually spoke to Rocky Athos. You guys remember him from Lightning. He played with Black Oak, Arkansas, and John Mayall, and local guy, just like Buddy. And Jim Suler, saw Jim Suler. And let's see who else. Saw Patrick Smith. He's good. He's good, yeah. Yeah, he's good. He played out there on the outdoor stage. Yep. And then I saw Kara Granger. Kara was on my show back when I was in the studio. She's in Nashville, but she's got a Australian accent because that's where she's from originally. And I saw, let's see, Frank Hannon with Tesla. And JT Luck. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was a good time. Good time. It was cool getting out and seeing people without masks, and it was, crowded. It felt like pre-COVID, right?
Like normal?
Normal. It was awesome. It'd been a long time since I'd experienced that. Well, true. We kind of abnormal. Hey, in addition to my guest segment, which comes later in the show, I've got unconventional news, non-traditional weather, our weird world of sports, whatever, and traffic that'll sure to make you go, what the hell did I just see? Delivered with that edginess and rawness that you crave, because we know, right, AJ?
Absolutely.
But you will not get from those traditional one-sided propaganda machines like the great philosopher Michael Jackson said, AJ, leave me alone.
But he said, can I touch that?
Yeah, I said that too. They just didn't fit. Some of our stuff is satire simply because you got to laugh to keep from crying. But the big difference in us and those other guys is we're actually entertaining. And we make fun of everyone when the opportunity exists. And there's so much opportunity, we can make fun of a lot of people for a long time. So hang on, because you don't want to miss a thing. Oh, and be sure to stick around till the very end of the show, because we always stick something special at the butt end of the show. Right, Tony?
Right.
So.
Right in the butt.
Right in the butt end. Right, AJ? Oh, I got one for you. So Comic Sans, Helvetica, and Times New Roman walk into a bar.
Okay.
What does the bartender say? Come on. Just take a guess. Nothing?
Nothing.
He shouts, "We don't serve your type here." Is it good?
I thought it was gonna be better.
Yeah, well, it's all right.
Yeah, it's not bad.
By the way, guys, I've got a totally useless fact. Adios pantalones. Is that a hint for what we're drinking today?
Absolutely. Cheers.
My useless fact is the inventor of Pringles is buried in a Pringles can. Did you know that? No, I'm serious.
I want to see a picture of that.
Here we go. In 1966, Frederick Bauer developed the ingenious idea for Procter & Gamble to uniformly stack chips inside of a can instead of tossing them in a bag. Great idea. I really like Pringles. I do too, especially those sour cream and onion.
I can't stop.
Dude, I could eat a whole can. Oh, I know.
What's your pop?
Bauer was so proud of his invention that he wanted to take it to the grave, literally. He communicated his burial wishes to his family, and when he died at the age of 89, his children stopped at Walgreens on their way to the funeral home to buy burial Pringles can for his ashes.
Wow.
They did have one decision to make, though.
Which
My siblings and I briefly debated what flavor to use. Bauer's eldest son, Larry, told Time magazine. But I said, look, we need to use the original, and that's exactly what they went with. If you want to share your worthless information with us, give us a call on the bar phone, 469-844-1631, because we know everything. Kinda. And remember, knowledge is power. By the way, if today is your birthday and you would like AJ to sing, just give us a call on the bar phone, 469-844-1631, because he'd love singing happy birthday to you. Oh, be sure to check out my YouTube channel. Right, AJ?
Right.
Just search Barside Jive Live at youtube.com and click subscribe, and then click that little bitty bell. Going for the wind up. And we click that little bell, and then that will get you a notification when I post my premium content, which is free to all of you because you're premium people. Oh, and now, ladies and gentlemen, an important PSA from our friends over at the Atlanta Genital Institute.
Your testicles and you. Take a good look. These are the unlucky ones. These unfortunate souls are suffering from ESS, enlarged scrotum syndrome. Here at the Atlanta Genital Institute, teams of doctors are at work around the clock to cure this dreaded affliction. Hi, I'm Dr. Zillman, and I'd like to talk to you about your testes. The human testicle is not unlike a balloon. Sometimes it is empty. And sometimes it is full. And sometimes, maybe this will help you understand. Just remember that your testicles, when treated with love and care, will give you years of maintenance-free service. But if abused, well, the inevitable conclusion. So next time, do the smart thing. Don't let anything come between your testicles and you. Thank you.
Bust a move. Okay, speaking of testicles, what do you call a chicken testicle, AJ?
Chicken ball.
A foul ball. Okay, so hold the applause because it is that time again for that segment with all those big ass, like AJ's beef ribs and like his
Big ass
beer can, raving reviews. Big ass raving reviews are
FBI, open up!
breaking news.
Whoosh! Bum, bum, bum,
Whoosh! Our top news story straight in from the Barside Jive news desk. CDC now recommends wearing a seatbelt even when you're outside the car. That's right, guys. You heard it first right here on Barside Jive. CDC now recommends wearing a seatbelt even when you're outside the car. Atlanta, Georgia. The CDC has issued brand new recommendations regarding the wearing of seatbelts. Health experts there are now recommending people wear a seatbelt even when outside the freaking car. This guidance is especially important if you're in a large group of people at the park or an outdoor event, said Dr. Stiku Pumibum. Risk of collisions, Stiku Pumibum.
I don't think that's right.
This guidance is especially important if you're in a large group of people at the park or an outdoor event, said Dr. Stiku Pumibum.
I think that B is silent.
Risk of collisions leading to bone breaks or concussions dramatically increase in large groups of people, AJ. Billions could die. When pressed regarding what the CDC authority, when pressed regarding what gives the CDC authority to comment on seatbelt usage, they clarified that these were simply recommendations based on the latest scientific research for the sake of public health. When further asked how exactly a seatbelt that's not anchored to anything can protect anyone, they replied with a statement saying, "It's the science."
You gotta follow the science.
Yeah. The federal government has responded with a nationwide seatbelt order for all public parks, buildings, and sidewalks. I don't know why. You got a call? I don't know why. AJ's multitasking. I don't know what's so hard about this, said Biden, as his aides handed him a juice box and tightened his 5-point harness. Just wear the damn seatbelt, folks. Bob's Quality Seatbelt Company concurred with the CDC's findings and confirmed that new outdoor seatbelts are now on sale for $59.99. What a deal, right, AJ?
Give me 4 of them.
Yeah. It's time for our breaking news special segment on 10 common things your husband says and what he's actually thinking. It can be hard to tell what your husband is actually thinking. Is he saying exactly what he thinks? Is he actually thinking about another woman? Would he still love you if you were Mr. Snuffleupagus from Sesame Street? So many questions. Luckily for you ladies, we are educated and wise and have all the answers. Plus, we're dudes, so we know exactly what men are thinking and can provide accurate translations. So here you go. 10 common phrases and what men are actually thinking when they say them. Number 1,
It's fine.
it means it's fine.
Pretty much.
It's freaking fine. Nothing else. Okay, number 2,
We can eat anywhere you want.
we can eat anywhere you want. That's exactly what it means, right? No hidden message there. We can go anywhere you want, baby. Number 3,
What am I thinking about? Nothing.
that's right. We're thinking about absolutely nothing. There is nothing in that brain pan right now. We're thinking about not a freaking thing, right? All right, number 4.
Oh, that's interesting.
Honestly,
I
guy,
ain't got a clue what you're fucking talking about.
we don't. We don't have a clue. You caught us. I mean, I'm sure that we would have found it interesting if we'd known what you said, but we didn't. We totally missed it. So if you press us with that "what did I say" line, we're going to either have to lie or make shit up. And either way, you're not going to like it. So just don't press us. Just understand we weren't paying attention. All right, number 5, AJ.
Yeah, that outfit was great. I used that Saturday
Well,
when I got asked about the 10 different things that you tried.
oh,
It looks great.
yeah. Well, we were supposed to be there like 20 minutes ago, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And you do look good. But honestly, at this point, you could wear a freaking curtain and we wouldn't care as long as we could get out the door.
Let's go.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, truth hurts, but that's it. Number 6,
You look nice today.
you do look nice today. And that's exactly what we mean. You look nice. Nothing else.
No reason why.
Yeah. It's plain and
Say
simple.
thank you.
You look nice. Number 7,
Your friend? I don't think she's pretty at all.
that's a freaking trap. Okay, don't even go there. No, don't even go
Not even
there.
worth it.
It's a total trap, and we know it. So don't even go there. 8.
Yeah, that's nice.
Oh no. Well, was she talking to me? Did "that's nice" make any sense at all? Please don't let her ask me to repeat what she said because I have no freaking clue once again. Number 9.
No, it's okay, babe. I can drive. I wish to live.
I don't want to die. I don't want to die in the car with you behind the wheel. That's the honest to God's truth. And number 10,
I love you.
you are the most amazing person that I have ever met. And honestly, I'm just in a complete state of shock every morning. I wake up, you're next to me. I pinch myself every day because there's just no plausible reason a woman as incredible as you should be with an oafish man-child like me. But here you are. It's just hard for me to express my feelings in words sometimes, as I'm more of a fist bumper and a high fiver. So I'll just say I love you and hope that you get the message.
You know what I started doing with Lane?
Uh-oh.
I started asking her, you know, wear that. Just to fuck with her.
Dude, you always ask for trouble. You always ask for trouble. Oh, and guys, we're really deep under that rugged exterior. Now go ask him what he's thinking about. And husbands, if you ended up here by mistake today, stay tuned for our special segment coming up soon, our guide to translating your lovely wife's facial expressions. That'll be fun. Our trending news items segment is brought to you by our friends over at Body Action Products. And here is AJ with a word from
Oh, it's my word. Bleach. Body Action Anal. Body Action Anal Bleach Gel. Body Action Anal Bleach Gel is a super concentrated, intimate area skin lightening gel. It is formulated to help improve the appearance of uneven skin tones and even diminish the discolored areas of the skin. It's ideal for anal, vaginal, penis, scrotum, nipples, dark underarms, and all other intimate area skin light. Again, where are the other intimate area skin lightening needs? For that asshole in your life that just needs to lighten the fuck up.
Man, you're so good. Trending nationally, Q claims Trump's move to unseat Biden is inevitable. Flintstones vitamins now available with puberty blockers. Elizabeth Warren barred from entering the country thanks to a travel ban on engines. YouTube live stream of paint drying got better ratings than the Oscars. And trending locally, Australian judge rules in favor of husband in divorce settlement. Says sex with a kangaroo is not cheating. Well, guys, there you have it. I think it's time for some rock and roll.
You, I'm not behind. Where do you think I go every time I leave the screen?
Hey, tequila and bourbon?
Yeah, we're drinking
Rock-
tequila and bourbon.
Rock history.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's tasty.
It's so good when it hits the lips.
Oh, yeah, buddy. It's May 3rd, and here are some reasons why this day matters in rock history. 1984 is the year, and the vintage lineup of Blackmore, Gillan, Glover, Lord, and Pace reunited as Deep Purple, guys. Love me some Deep Purple. How about we go to 1980 when Bob Seger and the Silver Bullet Band were on top of the chart, starting a 6-week run at #1 with their record Against the Wind.
I like Bob Seger.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. All right, let's move up to 2006. Godsmack topped the album charts this year with their 4th effort, the aptly titled 4.
What a cool name.
4, or
Godsmack.
Or IV. Yeah.
IV is what I was saying.
Very cool. In 1975, Chicago started a 2-week run at #1 on the album charts with Chicago 8, or V. It marked their 3rd #1. Wow, I love some Chicago.
Yeah.
And that's
the city.
No, not the city.
Yeah.
But the music, the band,
yeah.
they were awesome.
I'm
Still
just
are.
clarifying.
Yeah, me too. I'm glad you did. We don't want to get shot. And that's what happened today in rock history, which means it's time for Tony, little COVID update, baby. Welcome to year 2 of 14 days to flatten the curve. And now a special message on the COVID vaccine from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration. Things I will put up your ass if you come near me with that vaccine by Dr. Seuss. Brand new book out. You can get it on booksellers, wherever your favorite bookseller is.
You don't have one of these?
No, hell no, I don't have one, man. No jabs. No jabs coming at me. It's a 3D. Woo, woo. You're making me nauseous. All right, guys, and now we have another special message from, is this from Dr. Fauci? I don't know. I've lost track. We had Dr. Seuss and Dr. Fauci. They're about the same.
About the same?
Yeah. Okay, here we go.
I'm one of the damn fools that didn't take the coronavirus serious. So I went outside, got sick, and lost my hair. I had a hair full of hair. Well, now they prescribed me a vaccine for the coronavirus that I got right here. I'm going to take it. It's supposed to make me feel better and grow my hair and everything back. So we're going to try this and see what happens. All of it. So I'll let you guys know, okay? So this is day 2 of the vaccine for the coronavirus, and you can see things are really changing for me here. Like my hair is really growing back. Like this vaccine might be the truth. We'll see day 3, okay? Wow. Woke up day 3. Look at this. This vaccine is really working, y'all. Man. Y'all talking about don't trust the white man. Man, look at here. This is day 4. I don't really know what's in this vaccine, but wow. Man, I am so happy, man. Can't wait to go outside again when this is all over. But as you can see, I even got a park right here. Oh, man, I'm looking like Frederick Douglass, man. I'm loving this. Wow. So this is day 5. I don't know what the hell's in this vaccine, but I didn't ask for all this.
Wow. Guys, and there you have it. What do you say we do sports?
All right.
Let's go do sports. But first, our national anthem, because it represents the tradition, history, and beliefs of our nation and its people and helps evoke feelings of patriotism among Americans and reminds us all of our nation's glory, beauty, and rich heritage. All right, let's play ball. Well, guys, we have a special report coming courtside from the Los Angeles Lakers. LeBron James on race baiting. Here we go, LeBron, take it away. And now a word from Foghat Sellers.
Hi DC, thanks for having us on your show. And for you folks, I'm Roger of the band Foghat, and these are our wines. Foghat Cellars. This is a Chardonnay from Monterey County, absolutely delicious, 2014. We have 2013 Pinot Noir from Monterey County. It's absolutely fabulous, a wonderful drinking wine. If you like Pinots, you'll love it. This is a Cabernet Sauvignon from Paso Robles. All our wines come from Central Coast of California. Steve Rasmussen is our winemaker, though in fact myself and Linda actually get involved in the making of some of our wines. Drink, enjoy, go to foghatcellars.com to find out how to get them. Thanks, bye.
Don't forget to use the coupon for Barside Jive at the checkout. Get your 20% discount off your purchase. You can even get a bottle autographed by the drummer Roger Earl, the only remaining member from the classic lineup, Fog Hat.
That's right. And we're not drinking Corona today. That's a big ass bottle. It's a pinata.
Yeah.
It ain't got nothing in it.
Well,
You supposed to hang out from the
it
ceiling?
says to lift here to feel it.
Lift here to feel.
Here, hold on a second.
To feel what?
You know, you can put little bottles of alcohol in there, or maybe some hold on. Larry's calling me.
Who?
Larry
The mayor? Larry, the cable guy? Oh, you gotta get your cable fixed. Guys, it's time for some weather. We have Anyway, back to where were we at? Weather. So, from your Barside Jive Global Weather Center, where we try to stick to the current weather since forecasts are always so wrong, including our own. So here we go, guys. Local AJ's weather it's currently clear, bright, sunny, with no clouds, baby. And it's currently 84 degrees. Today's high is like 90, with a unlikely chance of rain. We had all of our rain last week, I believe. And we had hail. It started marble size, and then it went to golf ball size, and then at my house I got baseball size.
Jeez, I got nothing.
It was huge.
Wow.
It was huge. So got a lot of damage. I know the roof guy's coming Sunday.
Oh man.
The insurance inspector's coming Sunday. But yeah, it tore the shit out of everything. I got hail damage on my vehicles, got hail damage on my roof, my trees. I got limbs everywhere. It looks like World War III. But air quality's good. Wind's out of the, I don't know, AJ, where's the wind out of? Do you know?
It's coming out of the south.
You guess, and I could.
Just out there.
How many miles per hour is it blowing?
Probably about maybe 8 or 9 miles.
You think?
Not really too big.
Well, tell me about humidity. Is it pretty low?
It's moist out there.
Is it really? How moist?
It's pretty moist.
No, tell me how many, what's percent? Like I like it. Really. And the sun's going to set at,
I don't know.
We know it'll be after 8.
8:01.
Yeah, and that moon phase is still shitsis gladimus for those people out there like to keep up with that crap, those science people.
Here's to you.
And wait a minute.
No, let's drink to that person.
Okay.
Here's
Shitsis.
Here's over there.
Why am I empty?
Here's over there.
Oh yeah, but I got the big boy. Now what is this we're drinking?
I'm drinking bourbon and you're drinking a pickle shot.
Pickle shot. Is this the hot one or the cold one?
I gave you the cold.
You gave me the cold. Okay, here we go.
You cry like a little girl.
I know. I like crying though. Here we go. Oh yeah. That'll clear those sinuses. So let's go to Pedro Vasquez in Mexico for a closer look at the flooding conditions there. Here you go, Pedro.
This low-lying...
Well, that wasn't Pedro. That was Priscilla. Priscilla Vasquez. Hope you're okay.
She fell down.
She fell down. Speaking of flooding, I'm reminded of a story, AJ. A new study proves that beavers cause extensive flooding. Did you know that? I did. I mean, I've read it. The evidence against them is pretty damning. And that's your...
So there was one time I was in a patrol car, sitting out at the lake, writing a report. And you know, they got the little trees, they're probably about this big around all over the lake.
Yeah.
The decorative trees.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sitting there writing a report, got my window down, and a tree maybe 4 feet from my car just collapses.
No, fell?
Yeah, it fell over. I turned the spotlight on the car. There's a damn beaver was out there chewing it over.
No shit.
Yeah, well,
Really? lake?
Yeah. Yeah, just chewed it, it knocked it down, and then
Wow.
it started dragging it to the lake.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's funny, man. Middle of the night.
Wow. That's pretty cool. Well, guys, and that's your global weather from your Barside Jive meteorologist. Kinda. Here at Barside Jive. Where else do you get weather like this? You can't get anywhere. You can't get on 4, 5, 8, 11,
We tell you when it's
CNN,
We tell you when it's worse.
MSNBC, Fox. You can't get weather like this anywhere else. So tune us in every Monday, 12 p.m. Central Time. Excuse me.
Okay, buddy?
Ah,
You a little cold?
is that pickle?
It's cold.
It may be. Our weather was brought to you by our friends over at, I don't know, this just says Dudeness. I don't know what Dudeness is.
I shaved yesterday.
Don't risk dudeness.
All right, so Dudeness, I don't know what else to say about that, but I think we should just move on to traffic.
Quickly.
Let's take a quick look at traffic. How does it look? Beep, 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 yeah. How's it look out there on Main Street, AJ?
Pretty busy for a Monday.
How busy? Can you be a little more descriptive?
Like, I should probably start opening on Mondays. I'll be losing some money.
No, we screw up our show. You know, guys, despite the traffic on Main Street here in Grapevine, it seems that no London roundabouts made the recent top 12 attractive roundabouts in the world list, which has prompted London officials to begin to upgrade the BFI London IMAX. So let's go live to an interview in progress with London's Minister of Traffic discussing upgrades to the BFI London IMAX roundabout. There you go.
And as a result, it does take quite a long time to make change, even with the best will in the world.
That reminds me of a joke. So I'm organizing a class action lawsuit against Huggies and Pampers.
Okay.
Their diapers never hold the 22 to 37 pounds they advertise.
No, they never do.
Never. That's a lot of poop.
Mm-hmm.
That's like horse poop.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of horse poop, I had this conversation with Frank Hannon from Tesla, and I did a promo for the Guitar Festival. And you know, he has a ranch, and he gets these young musicians that he mentors. They, for studio time, they work on his ranch, and they have to scoop horse poop. So we had this long conversation about horse poop. But anyway, so that was sponsored by Hip and Hippie. Hip and Hippie is a planet-loving company known for its high-quality, earth-friendly, 100% recyclable candle line and natural body care products. That's what keep us looking so good. You're supposed to do your right arm so that we're in sync.
Bring it in.
Yeah, it's no wonder eco-supporting people love Hip and Hippie. HipandHippie.com. You know what, AJ? I'm totally out of beer. It is your problem. It's your bar. And as I mentioned earlier today, my featured guest is Tommy James. Oh, thanks. Rub it in. Rub it in. Savor that last drop, and I'm empty.
Man, that was hot.
As I mentioned earlier today, my featured guest is Tommy James.
You ever show a photo?
No. He's best known as an American rock, psychedelic rock musician, singer, songwriter, and record producer, widely known as the leader of the 1960s rock band, Tommy James and the Shondells. And I'll be right back with Tommy James after this quick break.
I'm out of here.
AJ and I go out on patio. All right.
You and I like a meat. Got my pride, but a man's gotta eat. Look over yonder. What do you see?
All right, we're just going to get into where we were last time. Tommy, thanks for being back with us again.
My pleasure.
I know we covered a lot of ground last time. I've got a little bit more to cover with you, and we'll dive right into it if you're okay.
Sure.
Okay. So I know this happens to artists. It's happened quite a bit in the past. Why did you get banned by the BBC?
Excellent question. Basically, as you know, Mony Mony was a #1 record in England, and we were scheduled to go over for a little tour sponsored by the BBC, which was a big deal, of course.
Oh, yeah.
And in addition to doing the tour, we were also going to do their TV show called Top of the Pops, which was their version of Bandstand back in the 60s. And so everything was all set. And at the last minute, we got a call from the vice president's office, Hubert Humphrey, who was running for president that year, or was going to run for president right after he got the nomination. He knew he was going to get it at that point.
Right.
And they asked us if we would appear the following week, once the campaign started in, I think it was West Virginia or someplace. It was the first place. And so I really felt that that was more important at that moment than doing the TV show in England. So we contacted the BBC and told them that, listen, I've got to do this presidential campaign. I really do. I think it's important, and I think that it's, I really feel like I have to do it, and I'm not going to be able to do the little tour and the TV show. Well, they went nuts.
Right.
They went berserk. And I guess I don't blame them, but they basically banned the rest of my records. And the BBC is a monopoly over there.
Yeah.
And so that's the way it happened. So as a result, Crimson and Clover and Crystal Blue Persuasion and Do Something to Me and Ball of Fire and She and all the rest of them, Dragon a Line, never got played in England. And so I became sort of an underground artist.
There.
And they gradually, though, my music did seep in over there, and so we have a lot of fans, a lot of emails, a lot of commotion in England, and have for a long time. But the BBC just didn't play my records over there, and as a result, the career was diminished because of that. But I'm still glad I did what I did.
Yeah. So did you ever recover over there from that?
Well, gradually over the years. Now, as a matter of fact, we have a brand new box set that was produced in England with all of my music on it from Roulette. Every one of the recordings that I did for Roulette Records from 66 to 73, 74, is on this package, 14 albums. And so that's all released. It's called Celebration, by the way, and it's been released in England and all around the world by a British record company called Cherry Red. So, I do a lot of interviews in Britain, and we'll be heading over there at some point. But the bottom line is that the answer to your question is yes, we pretty much recovered
Good.
from the damage that was done.
Well, you're not the only one. I understand it wasn't very hard for Americans to get banned by the BBC.
No.
So
They also had, by the way, pirate radio, which was coming in, and basically we were getting played on the pirate radio, which was a ship out in the open.
that was a great movie, Tommy.
Yep. And it was, the name escapes me at the moment. It's Radio Luxembourg, maybe. But there was a couple of them, and they were both beaming right into England. And so and they were playing our stuff. So it gave BBC a run for their money. So they were upset about that too.
Right. You know, Tommy, I never thought I'd get to a point in my life where people would say I'm old school, but it's America first, right?
That's right, baby.
That's right. We've got a lot to be thankful for because of America.
You got that right.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate the decision you made. And so how did the politics go?
Well, he lost. So, you know, I did get asked by Hubert Humphrey to be involved, you know, in the administration of the what was the title? The head of youth affairs.
Oh,
and
wow.
I said something to him like, believe me, the youth are having affairs and I'm just the guy to look into. So, yeah, it was, but what a trip that was. I mean,
yeah.
you talk about being in the center of your generation.
Yeah.
Really amazing. Of course, when we saw all of the riots at the convention and everybody getting beat up at the convention, we looked at each other, what the hell have we got ourselves into? And but once we got out on the road with Hubert Humphrey, he was a sweetheart. He really was. We could have done a lot worse.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. You know, I can totally see you being head of the Ministry of Music.
Yeah, wouldn't that have been government-sponsored rock festivals?
Right, right. I mean, you could be, Tommy. I mean, that's Tommy James, right? I mean, yeah, totally.
Why not?
Yeah, absolutely. So, do you think that Frank Sinatra ever recovered from being stood up by you?
I don't know. It was a real blow. I know that.
I'm sure it was.
Yeah. How'd you know about that? Did I tell you that? Or did
What?
you read it
No,
somewhere?
no, dude. Hey, it's Barside Jive, baby. We do our research.
You do deep research. That actually happened. That was a true story. That was what had happened was Terry Knight and I don't know. Remember Terry Knight and the Pack? Well, the Pack became Grand Funk Railroad, and Terry produced them.
Right.
And anyway, so back in '68, you know, Terry and I knew each other, and we worked together a few times on the road and got to be friends. And his manager was Ed McMahon from The Tonight Show. No kidding. So Ed McMahon lived up at Tower 53, which is up on 53rd and, I don't know, 6th Avenue and or 7th. And so Terry invited me to come up and meet Ed. So I did. I went up and met Ed McMahon. And that was right when they were moving to the Tonight Show was moving to California. And I can't remember if that was the final move or if this was just one of their trips out there. But anyway, you know, they would do the show from New York and then a few weeks from LA and then back and forth.
Right.
So I told Ed said, well, let's get together sometime. I said, well, you know what? I'm going to be playing the Hollywood Bowl next week. And you're going to be out in LA. Maybe we can get together out there. And so he said, fine. We set it up that we'll try to get together while I'm out there doing the Hollywood Bowl. So anyway, I kind of forgot about it. I mean, I had a lot to do and a lot of rehearsals and so forth. And we went out to California to do the Hollywood Bowl. And we're staying at the Century Plaza in LA, which at that time was like really swanky. And so that night, I had forgotten about meeting him. And I was in the studio. I went in the studio. I went in Capitol Studios out there, and I was finishing up one of my records, Do Something to Me. And so it was like 3 a.m. I'm done. This is after the show. And I go back to the hotel. I walk in, and the desk clerk is dumbfounded. And he says, Mr. James, Ed McMahon was here with Frank Sinatra, and they asked for you. And I missed him. I not only missed him, but I was very rude. I had forgotten about Ed McMahon. But of course, I didn't know he was going to come over after the show. But I was very, very, very. I could have kicked myself in the ass. Is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Once in a lifetime opportunity, and I blow it.
Wow.
So this is the story of my life there.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think we talked last time, you know, some of those things turn out for the
Woodstock.
good.
I missed Woodstock. I you know, it's the story of my life.
You missed the BBC.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Hanky Panky brought you through, baby.
Well, listen, it's, you know, life gets very forgiving as long as you're selling records.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Well, can we take a minute and talk about some of your biggest hits? But I want to talk about the backstories. I want to just throw out some names of some songs that were not just hits, but they were songs that I just loved as a young guy, and see what you can tell me, because I know there's some cool backstories to some of these songs. So I'm just going to throw some names out.
I'll do what I can.
I know we've already talked about Hanky Panky, but tell me something cool about Hanky Panky.
Tell you something cool. There's nothing cool about Hanky Panky.
Yeah.
Well, I guess what's cool is that a record that old, you know.
Yeah.
So it was 2.5 years old when after I had recorded it that it made it. I had recorded it back. I mean, do you want me to go through the whole story again? I'm not.
Well, no, I mean, I think you can, but I think
you've got the big story.
Yeah, I've got the big story, but just tell me something that happened about that song besides the big story, something unusual.
Well, let's put it this way. I have always considered Hanky Panky to be a miracle because honestly, the way that record happened was such a one in a million shot. I mean, it was like winning the lottery 6 times. It was just unbelievable. And it wasn't just one little miracle. It was a series of miracles that made that record go to #1. I mean, it was just an amazing thing. And I've always felt the hand of the good Lord was guiding my footsteps. And I mean that sincerely because it's one thing to have the hit. And here we are 55 years later, still talking about it. That really is a mind blower.
Yeah.
And so, you know, Hanky Panky really was I do consider a miracle, and I consider it, I guess you could say, a great faith builder.
Yeah.
Is that cool enough? It's true.
Yeah. It was the fuel for the Tommy James rocket ship.
Well, yes, it was.
Yeah.
It was, honestly.
And another song I love is Crimson and Clover. I've heard so many artists cover that song. When I first heard it, I fell in love with the song. And then later on, years later, I heard Joan Jett cover that song. Just always loved Crimson and Clover. Tell me something about it.
Well, Crimson and Clover was probably, well, the second most important record I did, only because of the events surrounding it. And, you know, Hanky Panky being the first, because without that, none of the rest would have happened. But Crimson and Clover happened at a very strategic moment for us. While we were out on the Humphrey campaign, the industry turned upside down. We left New York right after the convention in '68, in August, and went out on the road for approximately 90 days. When we left, it was all singles. The big acts on the radio were the Rascals, Gary Puckett, Mitch Ryder, the Association. You know, I'm leaving a lot of people out. Us, you know. When I got back 3 months later, it was all albums. It was Blood, Sweat, and Tears. It was Crosby, Stills, and Nash. It was Led Zeppelin, Joe Cocker, all of that first generation. Really, you could say, starting with the Beatles' Sgt. Pepper album, really fueled that, really set fire. And by the time we got back in November of '68 from the campaign, everything had changed. There was this mass extinction of singles acts, and albums were everything. And it was the biggest decision I think the record business ever made, because luckily, at that very moment, we were working on Crimson and Clover. And Crimson and Clover allowed us to make the pivot from top 40 singles to progressive FM album rock. It allowed us to start selling albums, which we really had never done before. We were a singles act, and we were a radio act, and in that one, I don't think any other record we ever made would have allowed us to make that move in one swoop like that. Crimson and Clover gave us the second half of our career. We could have very easily ended with Mony Mony right there. And been a nice career, but it could have ended right there very easily. So Crimson and Clover was strategically so important to us for all those reasons. And then again, Crimson and Clover, I began producing the group myself with Crimson and Clover. And so it gave me credentials as a producer, and it gave the group credentials selling albums. So it was really a very, very important record for us. And that's really, from a business standpoint, what Crimson and Clover did for us.
It's got to make you feel good, Tommy, to
Sure
hear
does.
so many different artists cover that song.
It was the first record that I produced by myself for the group, and it was the biggest single record of our career. It did 5.5 million copies right there in 1969, and of course went #1 in all 3 trades, and then sold another 12 million on various albums worldwide over the next 20 years. I mean, it was a mammoth seller, and of course has been covered so many times. I mean, I did a cover of it with Dolly Parton. I mean, it's been covered by artists as varied as Dolly Parton to Prince.
Right.
Prince did a magnificent cover of it not too long before he died.
Right.
And I've always been very, very proud of that record. Oh my, I mean, you know, Cher did it with her son. and oh, I mean, just so many
Yeah.
crazy covers that you wouldn't figure on. In addition to Joan Jett and the people who've had hits with it, but you know, so I've been very, very grateful for that record.
You know, Tommy, you mentioned Moni Moni. George Harrison wanted to do a project with you, but you felt like it was too close to Moni Moni, and you declined
Well,
to.
actually, what happened is George was producing at that time, and he was producing a group called Grapefruit.
So what year are we talking about? When was this?
68.
Okay.
68, 69. And this would have been early 69. George wrote a bunch of songs for us. He wrote several of them with this group Grapefruit, and he wrote a couple by himself. And got them to my manager, Lenny Stogel. And I was, you know, very grateful. In fact, I never really got a chance to properly thank him before he passed. I always regretted that one. Another one of my regrets. But at any rate, I listened to them, and they basically all sounded like Moni Moni, because that's the only record that they knew about. So by that time, of course, we were into Crimson and Clover, and I think maybe we had just released Sweet Cherry Wine. And so I never did this. I probably should have done it immediately. I probably should have just gone in the studio and done one of them, but I didn't. We were, you know, really busy doing the new kind of music that we were doing.
Right.
And so I never got a chance, and I always felt terrible. I was very grateful that George did that. I was, you know, I really was very, and I said so in many interviews, but I never got a chance to really talk to him and thank him for doing that for us.
Yeah, because I'm thinking, of course, you know, I realize that, hey, you're Tommy James, but he's George Harrison.
Yes.
So I would have thought that,
yes.
Okay, yeah.
Well, that's how I felt too. And
let's go to the studio.
Yeah, I should have immediately just gone in and done it, but I didn't. We were in the middle of an album, recording an album, and I just didn't do it, and I should have.
Yeah. What about Crystal Blue?
Another regret there, you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I understand. What about Crystal Blue Persuasion?
Well, Crystal Blue was one of the hardest records I've ever produced. Doesn't sound like it, but it really was. The title came. I was doing a concert in Atlanta. I remember this like it was last week. We were doing a concert in Atlanta, and at a college, and one of the college kids came up to me with a poem, and I had to see it. And he says, "You got to see this," and it was called Crystal Persuasion. And I thought that was you know, as a songwriter, you're always looking for interesting word combinations that, you know, sound profound or have, you know, meaning more than than the words that they are. And so that really intrigued me. And I took the poem, and it was from the book of Revelation, the Bible. And I took it back to the hotel, and that night, we started writing something from the book of Revelation. It wasn't what he had there, but it wasn't, they weren't his lyrics, but they were close.
Mm-hmm.
And I needed a third syllable to make the rhyme work. And so we came up with Crystal Blue Persuasion. And I wrote it with Mike, our bass player, and Eddie, the guitar player, Eddie Gray, and he came up with the little guitar line, you know, the bum, 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 bum. And it just worked, and it just fell out of our face, and we got right in the studio with it. And it started to take on a Latin feel because of the chords. And, it was very different from anything we'd ever done before.
Oh, yeah.
And especially after, Crimson and Clover and Sweet Cherry Wine were very different from each other. And Crystal Blue Persuasion was very different than either of those. So we went in the studio and just messed with it for about 4 weeks. And when we got done, we looked at each other and we said, that's not the song we wrote. It was totally overproduced. We had a full set of drums. We had, 2 or 3 guitars. We had, 3 different keyboards and percussion and everything. And when we got done, we had just mangled the thing. I couldn't believe I let that happen because the song was a sweet song with very kindly sounding lyrics. It was not the song we produced. And so for the next 3 weeks or so, we just started pulling things out of the record until finally all that was left was a bongo drum, a flamenco guitar, 1 electric chord guitar, and a trickling organ. And that was it. And we had to let it breathe to be right. And finally, when we're done, we said, that's the record. That's Crystal Blue Persuasion.
Wow.
And that literally is how it happened. And I took it to Roulette and I played it for Morris Levy. He went nuts. He loved it. It was his favorite song we ever did. He loved Latin jazz and was, loved Latin music himself. And so it had a Latin feel, and so it just worked. And it was one of those songs that just, when it hit the radio, it just took off. So we were very happy and that was, of course, from the Crimson and Clover album. Yeah. And I went in and I added horns. It didn't have horns when we first put it out. And I went in and added 2 saxes and 2 trumpets. Actually, they were flugelhorns, but it just worked. So that was Crystal Blue.
Tommy, Crimson and Clover and then Crystal Blue, you started this psychedelic vibe, right?
Well, Crimson and Clover was the album had a lot of very new sounds in it. Yeah. I don't know that, they always describe it as being psychedelic. I don't know if it was psychedelic or not. It was just a lot of new sounds. I mean, for example, the tremolo guitar became a staple with us on that album. And it kind of by accident, I just started playing with the tremolo. And we ran the vocal mic through a guitar amp and turned on the tremolo, and that was the end of Crimson and Clover. It was like one of those fluky things that you don't know is going to work or not. It just and it did. Became the signature song of the album and sound of the album, and then the other songs were kind of all over the place. Crystal Blue was so different from Crimson and Clover. It really was. So, very different feel.
So many people have labeled it, psychedelic rock, and they assumed that the song originated from drug use. No, I mean that's
listen, I'm not. We did our share. We were right. 60s kids, but the truth is that I'm so thankful to Roulette for leaving us alone, because most record companies, especially, we left our producers, Bo Gentry and Richie Cordell, and I began producing the group. Well, if we had been with Columbia or RCA, they would have put a producer in. Mm-hmm. They would have teamed us up with, an outside production firm and a producer. But at Roulette, they had enough trust in me to allow me to basically do whatever I wanted to do. And I was very, very thankful for that.
Yeah.
Because it allowed me to learn my craft, if you will.
Yeah.
And be sort of an on-the-job trainee. I was learning as I was doing, you know. So that, you know, I was always thankful for that.
So Crystal Blue Persuasion is really almost a biblical song.
Yes, indeed, from the Book of Revelation.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, it's about becoming a Christian.
Yeah.
That's what it's about. You know, nothing was considered politically incorrect at that time.
Right.
You know, it was, you know, all these records like snapshots of where we were at any given moment.
Right. Wow. There's so many, Tommy, we could talk about. You know, Sweet Cherry Wine, Dragging the Line, I Think We're Alone Now, Pretty Little Red Bird.
Oh, my Pretty Little Red Bird.
Yeah.
You're talking about pre-hanky panky on that one, boy.
Yeah, but it's a great song.
Thank you.
Yeah, so many we could talk about. There's not enough minutes in the hour in the day. You know, I know that you're a big fan of vinyl, as I am. How did the transition from 45s to albums affect you guys?
Well, you know, it's funny you bring that up because this week on my show on Sirius XM, we talked about that in detail. We talked about the decision that the record companies made to go from singles to albums. And then we featured several of the big albums that everybody had, you know, the first Crosby, Stills and Nash album, the Led Zeppelin album, and Blood, Sweat and Tears and all that. But what really happened is that when the Beatles put out Sgt. Pepper in late 67, and they sold 32 million albums, 32 million.
Yeah.
The record companies saw that and saw that how much they were losing out on by not selling albums, by not making albums the centerpiece of their record sales. You know, they were losing a whole lot of money. That was what it boiled down to. So it was a decision by the record companies, first of all. And then at the same time, you had all this technology from the space program coming into the studios. That's the first place that the miniaturization and all this stuff, and the toys ended up in the studio. The first synthesizers, multi-track recording went from 4-track to 24-track in about 8 months. FM radio started playing rock and roll for the first time. So they're playing stereo and it had to sound good.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so weren't going to do it. So all of these things happened at the same time. And it just made all the sense in the world for albums and which sounded better, which were in stereo, which you could do a lot more. A group could really show what they did and what they were all about because they had 10 or 12 tracks to do it in instead of one.
Mm-hmm.
And the singles sort of became an appendage of the albums. That had never happened before. For us, from a creative standpoint, it was a very scary moment because a lot of groups had tried to make that move from singles to albums and fell in their butts. A lot of them.
Mm-hmm.
So we were very lucky, first of all, to have the first record that we did that was attached to an album, the Crimson and Clover album, to have it make it. And then end up being our biggest selling single.
Yeah.
All at the same time. That was a huge stroke of luck. And again, it was a big miracle that it happened for us at that very moment. And Hubert Humphrey wrote the liner notes to the Crimson Clover album. Yeah, I mean, it was really a monumental move for us. So vinyl, of course, the CDs hadn't been invented yet, and so it was all vinyl. And so, yeah, I have so many great memories attached to vinyl, but also Ira's on TV as he walks across the screen. So, you're going to have to duck, or you're going to have to come over and be interviewed with me.
We're going to have to give him a lower third that follows him across the room.
That's right. Anyway, so it was huge. It was a huge move.
Yeah. Yeah. Your music was such a big part of the hippie movement of the late 60s and well into the 70s. Looking back, what are your thoughts about that time period and that, hippie movement specifically?
Well, it's a moment in time that we will never have again. None of us realized how important a moment the 60s was. None of us, I don't think any of us who were making music, because we were too busy living it. The 60s turned out to be a magical time, and a time that we all look at as being a lot of fun. The truth is, the 60s, in a lot of ways, were horrible. You had the assassinations. I've often said that, it's the old adage, if you remember the 60s, if you can remember the 60s, you probably weren't there. Because the truth is, the 60s, the Vietnam War was going on. There was a lot of stuff happening at once. The politics was unbelievable. The rioting, the assassinations, the death and destruction from the wars and what was going on at the time. It was really a very difficult time to live through. Of course, then you also had Woodstock, and you had the space program, and the moon landing, and all of my New York teams were champions that year. The Knicks, the Jets,
right.
The Rangers. I mean, all the New York teams won. So it really was a lot of good and a lot of bad. And so the 60s, and as far as the hippie movement, it was fun. It was fun, but nobody took it too serious. I mean, it wasn't, I don't know. I was always a little uncomfortable. I was sort of caught in between. I was kind of a plain clothes hippie. I wasn't really a hippie because I had to think about business and I had to think about, music moves and stuff I had to think about recording and all that stuff. So I really couldn't be a hippie. Total, but I was, I had my hippie uniform. I had really long hair. I wore a hat. I had, I had all the hippie garb. I did pretty good, but I was always a little uncomfortable being a hippie. Of course, a shrink would have a field day with me in the 60s, but that's kind of how I felt.
Why is that?
I don't know. I wasn't really into hippie politics. I was sort of in between. I wasn't really. Hippie politics were kind of stupid. Well, they really were. I smoked dope by myself. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? So I didn't really, I wasn't really a doper in public. Uh,
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I wasn't a Cheech and Chong guy.
Right.
Although I love Cheech and Chong, I wasn't really a Cheech and Chong guy.
Right.
I was also, after the 1960s, after Woodstock, it was like a garage door slamming shut. Bam! And the silence was unbelievable. 1970 was almost like I had earplugs in. That's how it felt. It's like we all took a deep breath. 1970, there was still a record business and everything kept going and stuff, but it was like a garage door slamming shut. And until I guess disco came around with Donna Summer, 72, 73, there was 2 or 3 years there where it was just kind of very quiet. It's like you had earmuffs on.
Yeah.
And of course, then things got going in the 70s and other things happened. I left Roulette in 74. There was a big blowout. In 1970, there was a big gang war in New York when the Gambinos were taken over, and Morris was on the wrong side, and he was with the Genovese family, and things got dangerous at Roulette. And that's a whole other story. But
right. Tommy, you've written a great book, which I'm proud to say I have a copy, which tells the story of your path to success, but you also shared the dark side of that path, which writers often kind of stray away from. Did it obviously help you tell the story?
Well, yeah. I mean, Martin Fitzpatrick, my co-author, and I began writing a book we were going to call Crimson and Clover. And it was about the hits. And it would have been, a fun book, a decent music book. But we realized that about a third of the way into the book, that if we don't tell the Roulette story, the whole story, we were cheating ourselves and everybody else. I'm nervous about finishing the story because a lot of these guys were still around. So we stopped writing the book. We put it on a shelf until we felt we could finish it. And finally, the last of the Roulette regulars, as I call them, in fact, it was Gigante, Vinny the Chin, who passed away, and we felt we could finish the book. And we did. And as soon as we finished the book, we got immediate calls on for the book itself. We got the book came out almost immediately. Simon and Schuster, and then we got asked about the movie rights and the Broadway rights, and so we're going to do it all. But writing the book was challenging because I wanted to be truthful. I wanted to tell the story the way it really happened. I wanted to be honest about who did what. I didn't want to overstate things or understate things. I really wanted to tell the truth. I didn't want to embellish on it to make it more glamorous or more, shocking. I wanted to tell it like it happened.
Right.
From my vantage point. And so I think we accomplished that. I think we did that.
Oh,
And
yeah, it's a great read. Great book.
so anyway,
yeah, I encourage everybody that's not just interested in Tommy James, but anyone that's interested in a really good insight to rock and roll in the '60s, particularly, just
I think
grab
one of
this
the
book.
things that one of the things that has to be understood about Roulette Records is that it truly was ground zero for the connection between the mob and the record business. I mean, there were other labels who had elements of that, but Roulette really was the bullseye.
Yeah.
And we would meet people up in Morris's office, you know, and shake hands with him. And a week later, we'd see him on TV being taken out of a warehouse in New Jersey in handcuffs. Isn't that the guy we just met? You know, and we'd recognize famous gangsters that we'd see on TV in the news.
Yeah.
And they would hang out in Morris's office like it was a social club. And so we really, there's a lot we couldn't talk about.
Yeah.
You know, we couldn't say that. And you know, until the book, you know, so a lot of that stuff I'd been wanting to articulate for a long time. And the book allowed me to do that. So.
Let's go back to May 21st, 1990, the day that you were told that Morris Levy was near death.
Yeah.
He wanted to see you. And my question is, if you had been able to see him before he died, what do you think that he would have said to you?
Well, he was dying up at his farm. He was, of course, bedbound. He was dying of cancer. And he had been convicted and sent to prison for 10 years. And he never served a day because he died. But he had been convicted. He had unloaded Roulette, sold it. He had sold Big Seven Music Publishing Company. So Morris sold the Roulette Masters to Rhino, who was at that time distributed by EMI. And so we were getting a lot of the money that we had lost. But the point was that I was told that Morris was near death. And I had a gig in Chicago. That's where the book picks up at the very beginning. I was playing a concert in Chicago. And as I was supposed to go up, as I'm running out of the house to catch the plane to Chicago, I get a call that Morris is asking for me and he's near death. And I said, okay, I'll be up tomorrow. I got to do this gig. I'll be back tomorrow and I'll come right up to the farm. Well, I never got a chance to do that because he died that night during my show, actually, or shortly before it. I got off stage and they called me and told me that he had died. And I always regretted that I never got a chance to say goodbye to Morris, because the truth is, without Morris Levy, there wouldn't have been a Tommy James. And that is the truth. So I have to say that whenever I start coming down too hard on Morris and Roulette, I gotta preface it with, you know, if it hadn't have been for Morris Levy, I wouldn't have made it. And
Right.
And that is the truth. Maybe in a different way somehow, but that is the truth. And so I got to give him his due on that. He made a lot of things happen for me. And I mean, he had his own selfish reasons, but you know, he did me a lot of favors and made it happen for me. So at any rate, I wanted to tell him that. That's part of what I would have told him. I genuinely cared about the guy. I miss him. I miss the guy.
Yeah.
Because he was always there. This, by the way, is the last scene of the movie. And I have this imaginary conversation with Morris in a limo as I'm going back to the hotel from the Chicago gig. And this new version of I Think We're Alone Now comes on, and it's the closing credits. This slow, and then I Think We're Alone Now has a whole new meaning because it's not a teeny bopper love song. It's Morris has died and we're alone now.
Oh,
so
wow.
It has a whole new meaning.
Yeah.
And as you listen to the song, you can just kind of see the closing credits, and it's the last scene of the movie. So poignant. Morris's death is it's a very moving thing for me, and so that's just the way it is.
Well, thank you for sharing that. I definitely would love to be at the premiere, by the way.
Sure, me too. I hope they get it made while we're both still alive.
Of course, you're going to be there.
Well, the Hollywood is pretty much shut down now because of the COVID situation, but it's starting to pick up again. So things are moving again.
We're going to start wrapping this up, but I want to ask you, I know that since about, I don't know, early 2018, you have hosted your own weekly radio program, Getting Together with Tommy James on Sirius XM Radio. How's that going for you?
Oh, it's going great. We just celebrated our 3rd anniversary.
Wow.
And we have just recorded our 3rd anniversary show. It's going to be on a week from Sunday.
Awesome. Tell everyone where they can find. Tell everyone how they can find your show.
Sure. Well, it's Sirius XM 60s on 6. It's on 5 to 8 p.m. every Sunday Eastern time, and you can also do it through the Sirius XM app. And you can just download the app, and you get all the shows. And you can get us on your computer. And if I yell real loud, you'll hear me from here. Anyway, so and we're on every week. So really love to see everybody.
And also, you want to talk about your latest solo project, Alive?
Sure.
Tell them about it, Tommy.
We have our album out that was released this last year called Alive. And it's got a couple of covers. We did a new cover of Dragon the Line with Tone Z, the rapper, who is really a talented guy, and we did it together. It's a new version of Dragon the Line, and we also did a song from the Crimson and Clover album called I'm Alive. Did a new version, and we've released, and we did the slow version of I Think We're Alone Now that's going to be in the movie.
It's very cool.
So, and by the way, the new version of I Think We're Alone Now and the first single from the album called So Beautiful both went top 20 AC in Billboard. And so it's great to be back on the charts. And the album went top 20 too.
Isn't that awesome?
Yes, it is.
Also, you did a great job on The Last Time. I'm a Stones fan.
Thank you very much.
Did a great job.
That was very different, wasn't it? We did a cover of This Could Be the Last Time by the Rolling Stones, and then several new songs. So
Distant Thunder. I love that.
Thank you.
That's a great song.
Well, we're actually thinking about that as a single. I don't know. It's a very different kind of thing for us, but it's going to be in the movie also, by the way.
Oh, okay. Awesome.
Distant Thunder. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Besides that, you've got Me, The Mob, and the Music, your autobiography. It's a great read. People need to go out and find that. Yeah. Who's going to play you in the movie?
Walter Brennan. No,
No.
somebody who, no, there's so many young hip actors out there today. I'm the worst one. These casting directors are so talented and they know
Yeah.
everybody.
Yeah.
It's going to have to be somebody who plays guitar as badly as I do to be authentic. But honestly, there's several people that I think would be great. I don't want to jinx anything though.
Okay.
I'm going to leave that for the grown-ups.
Okay. All right. So tell me, what's next for Tommy James?
Well, they want to do a Broadway version of the movie.
Wow.
And that's going to be interesting. It's going to be a musical, of course.
Yeah.
But it's going to be interesting seeing, the mob guys dancing around. That's going to be interesting.
Oh yeah.
So,
I can't wait.
It's so totally, it's the same story told in a whole different way,
Wow. That's very cool. You've got so much going on, and Tommy, we're so happy for you. Your music literally lives in the hearts of everyone who has been fortunate enough to hear it, especially those of us that were teenagers in the 60s and 70s.
Well,
and on behalf of them, I just want to thank you. You've been a blessing to all of us, and we are very appreciative.
Well, thank you so much. It's been great talking with you. You really let me rail on.
No, Tommy, you've taught us so much about your life and your career, and we've loved every minute of it. And I just want to wish you, your wife, your family the best health, happiness, success that this old world offers. And then we'll see you in the next life.
God bless you, my friend.
Pardon me?
Absolutely. You take care of yourself, and listen, stay in touch with us.
I will. Now, don't hang up.
Touch.
Hang on 1 second. Guys, everything Tommy James can be found on his website, tommyjames.com. And as always, I will include links to his music and autobiography in the description below this video. So all you have to do is click. Thanks for hanging out with Tommy and I today. And please like and share this video and click subscribe to my YouTube channel. It's free. And then click the tiny bell to receive notifications when I post something new. That will wrap this episode of Barside Jive. And until next time, peace, love, and rock and roll. Tommy, you're the best, dude.
You take care of yourself, my friend.
You ever get to Dallas, seriously, whatever.
We'll get together.
Crystal blue persuasion.
Barside Jive shall not be responsible for any incorrect or inaccurate information caused by this broadcast. Barside Jive does assume, however, all responsibility for the satirical nature of its content and for the occasional fictional nature of its content. All characters appearing in this broadcast, even those based on real people, except for our featured guests, of course, are entirely fictional, and any resemblance between them and any persons living dead or undead is purely a miracle.